Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're here. Sunday. You know what's up. Coriander. Oh, okay. There's your camera. I was like, what's going on? We're getting haunted.
We have
How
to
you
be
get?
on a delay. Yeah,
We are? How do you
I
figure?
think so. Because I was been on camera, at least on my thing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
So yeah,
But how you guys doing?
good.
Good.
How are you?
Excited.
I'm good. I'm good, man. So we are going to be talking today about Us from 2019, obviously directed by Jordan Peele, who, we got a lot to say about him and what he's been doing, but we've got a really cool cast in this movie. Starring Lupita Nyong'o, we got Winston Duke, we got Elizabeth Moss. I mean, this movie is stacked with talent, and it's going to be interesting to talk about it. Let's see who we have in the chat, and then we'll get going on this. Let's see. We got Russell. Russell's in the chat saying, "What's up, everyone? I just smashed the like button before I came in this awesome stream and chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much."
Cool.
Dan's in the chat. What's up, Dan? Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Hey.
Hey,
Brandon's in the chat saying, "I will stand on the hill," saying one of the scariest images in the film is the doppelganger family just standing in the road. That's true.
yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah, that's true. Wayne's in the chat. What's up, Wayne? We got Extron as well. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Let's see. Dan giving everyone a reminder. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. Tomorrow night, Slasher Movie Club. The movie is Dark Ride. It's on Tubi. It's free. Still time to watch it and join in tomorrow night. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate you putting that reminder out. And we got the general. General's in the chat saying, "Hey everyone, what's going on? What's going on?" Let's see. I want to make sure I catch up to everyone before we get going. Larry's in the chat. What's going on? Saying, "Hey everyone, hope everybody's having a great Sunday." We are.
Yeah,
We are.
same.
Absolutely. Let's see. Joe's in the chat saying, "Gas prices are scarier than us."
Right?
We got Elro. What's going on? My man Movies and Beyond's in the chat. And we also have Sasha. What's up, Sasha? Saying, "I thought this film was good, serviceable, nothing more." All right. And what's going on, Blucka? Nice to see you.
Hey,
And Ben saying, "Saw Us twice in the theaters." All right.
nice.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Let's do a real quick take before we get going with the intro proper. Kill, what's a quick blurb you've got on Jordan Peele's Us?
You know, I loved Get Out, which was Jordan Peele's first movie, and for him to follow it up with this, I mean, he's hitting on all cylinders, and this movie combines great science fiction and horror, and I love this film. So
Okay. How about you, Coriander?
Yeah, I mean, he's so creative. I love how throughout this movie he puts hints of who, Lupita really is. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, if you pay close attention, you could probably pick them up. But yeah, it's a like Killian said for his like second movie, and for it to be crafty, original, and yeah, it was. I enjoyed this one definitely.
Okay. All right. Yeah, for me, it's definitely a movie that I think has a lot of things going on, and I really appreciated that. When I saw it, I was definitely impressed in the theater. And again, there's a lot of creativity and style that he brings to his work. So I'm really, really interested to have a talk about this. Which, by the way, this is almost kind of an interesting thing because, Kill, I don't know if you remember, but one of the first movies we talked about together was Get Out. And that was a long time ago on the old channel. It was a great conversation. Nobody really watched it, but it was fun
I
to
was there
have.
in the chat.
You were, but it was a fun conversation, and it's really
Yeah.
cool to kind of get back on that path and kind of get back to these movies because Nope is going to be opening in just a few days, and I'm really excited about that. And we'll talk a little bit about that too. But anyways, for you guys in the chat, for you guys watching replay, we're going to take a second to get finished getting set up.
that's right.
All right. That's right. Okay, and real quick before we get going, Wayne jumped into the chat. What's up, Wayne? Nice to see you. Patricia jumped into the chat. Stu jumped into the chat. Nice to see you guys. Welcome, welcome.
Nice.
And please, please hit the like button. That would help to support the channel, and we'd really appreciate it. And Val, if you get a chance, or Dan, if you could let us know how many likes we got and so forth. So, all right, Kill. Let's start this thing off, man. This movie. It starts off very interesting, is one way I like to word it. But what were you thinking in the beginning with it?
Well, I mean, it starts off, I believe, in like 1986 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's Lupita Nyong'o and her mother and father. They're at the beach, and they're at the kind of boardwalk, little fair. And she's just a precocious little girl, just out having a nice night with her parents. And, look, this even happened to me as a kid. Little ones, hold on to your parents' hands. Don't wander
Right.
off, because you're going to see something horrible or something's going to happen to you, and it's never going to be a good look. Okay.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
one thing I will say that I love in this movie is Jordan Peele is a fan of the genre, and he
Yeah, he
puts
is.
little things in his movies that if you're a big enough geek or you love a certain film, you'll be like, oh, they're talking about Lost Boys there or whatever.
Right.
Alice in
There's
Wonderland.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
But there's a little sequence when young Lupita is with her parents, and her mother says, "Oh, they're filming something over there at the Ferris wheel." And
Yeah.
if you picked up on it and so forth, it's like the Ferris wheel from Lost Boys, etc. I'm a big old geek, so
Right.
I picked up on that, and I love that stuff. So
Right.
that's all I got for now.
Absolutely. How about you, Coriander? In the beginning, what were you thinking of just the way the movie started off?
I thought it was a great beginning. You're like Killian said, you're following this little girl. They're like at the pier, the boardwalk, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, shit goes down. This poor girl wanders off, and she ends up going into this, like, I don't know if it's like a fun house type of thing with
Yeah.
these mirrors. And
Hmm.
yeah, and her life completely changes forever in that bad decision.
Yep. It's true. It's true. And I think that scene was really not only shot well, but it really gives you I'm trying to piggyback on what you guys have been saying. It gives you a certain vibe. It seems very, you can tell that he is a student of the craft. You could tell that he's a really big horror fan. He's even said he's a horror nerd, and you can really see that even in the beginning. And I think it's very, very interesting and very cool, that the House of Mirrors and all that type of stuff. Just awesome stuff, man. But ultimately, in that famous scene where she backs up into the mirror and then her reflection turns around and grabs her, that's some pretty cool stuff. Just the way that it was shot, the lighting, the camera angles, and everything. So I really, really enjoyed that. But we come to find out that she was missing, and her parents found her. I think she was missing for an hour, or maybe a little bit less than an hour, or something like that. And you see a scene where she's basically being seen by a doctor and so forth, just talking about the trauma of it all and so forth and so forth. So anyways, you basically kind of fast forward to the point where she's older, and next thing you know, you've got, and it's famously from the trailer, which, by the way, the trailer was really, really cool. I don't know if you guys remember when you first saw the trailer for Us, but I thought it was really, really cool because it set up this family as just a regular, everyday family. No stereotypical things going on. This is just a regular American family. Kill, you know where I'm going with this, so I'm gonna let you take it from there, because Winston Duke, especially, and we could go into a whole nother episode talking about the fact that I appreciated the way he was characterized and not the typical way that he would have been characterized. So let's go with that a little bit, Kill.
Well, for one, Winston Duke is a great actor. I love seeing him and stuff. And he is the comedy relief in this movie. He is the silliest one in this movie. And he is great. He's a great dad. And just to talk about, stereotypes, there's, you just have an American family. They're going to their beach home. They're living their best life. The kids, for the most part, they're great kids,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just being them, and that's
Yes.
all it has to be. It doesn't always have to be a sad backstory, ex
Right.
gangbanger, or this or that. And also,
Right.
that's what I loved about Get Out.
Yes.
I mean, Daniel Kaluuya in Get Out was just a guy. He was a
Yep.
photographer, had a great eye,
Mm-hmm.
just living his best life with his girlfriend. And,
Right.
things happen, you know. But that's what I love about Jordan Peele. He doesn't have to worry about that aspect of his characters. They're just people. They're people,
Mm-hmm.
so I can focus on all the other things. And for
Right.
one, the family dynamic here is so believable. I
Right.
mean, Lupita as the mom, and Winston Duke as the dad, and the kids. They're bickering with each other. There's still love there. So the chemistry between all of these actors, even the young actors, they all
Yes.
work great.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can get some child actors that are kind of overacting or underacting or just annoying. To me, these kids weren't your typical Hollywood annoying kids.
Yeah.
They didn't, for the most part, do anything stupid, and they were likable. So I
Yeah.
just loved seeing the family dynamic, and this is all before the shit hits the fan.
Right.
So
Right.
you get to see them just exist and
Right.
go hang out with their friends at the beach.
That's right. That's right. Which is and you there's so and I'm gonna get to you in a second, Coriander. But even things like this with the beach is just showing you, it's just a breath of fresh air. The way that the main characters are depicted. Again, just a family, regular everyday family. If you were reading this in the book, you'd have no idea what they look like because they're just regular people. If you get what I'm
Hmm.
saying. But Coriander, what did you think of the family? Whether it's that scene in the car or once they get to the beach and meet up with their friends and so forth, because that's right before stuff starts to kind of start to turn a little bit.
Yeah, this looks like a happy family, a
Mm-hmm.
loving husband and wife and a couple of kids that, like you said, there are moments where they get along and there are moments when they don't.
Right.
And yeah, it they're a good believable family to follow along with in this journey of Tara,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Real quick too in the chat, Brandon was saying, "What would you do if you encountered your doppelganger?" I'd freak out.
I'd kill
It's
it.
oh jeez.
I'd think
Oh
of this
man.
movie and I would kill it.
Yeah. How about
Yeah,
you, Kill?
I'd probably have one of those like Scooby Doo moments, like in front of a mirror, like,
right.
Right.
like,
Pinch yourself.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Nightmare Corner's in the chat too. What's going on? Nice to see you. Nice to see you, man. Yeah, it would freak me out though, for real.
Oh yeah.
Dan said Winston Duke was a revelation in this film. I took from his performance that he can do anything. Absolutely. And the thing of it is, a lot of people know him best from Black Panther as M'Baku, and he was amazing in that. But totally different type of role
Yeah.
in Us, which I loved, and it showed that he is very good as far as having just great acting ability, and I appreciate that. And again, Jordan Peele wanted to illustrate that because you could see a lot of scenes. I know I'm kind of going off a little bit here, but you could see a lot of scenes with him specifically and just basically just smiling in the face of stereotypes and the way you think he would handle a situation. You know what I mean? Especially when the doppelganger family comes and he's trying to basically be brave and defend his family, and you're thinking, okay, I know how this is going to go. Nope. It doesn't go that way. He's just a regular guy. That's all he is. He's not a superhero. He's not a toughie. He didn't come from the streets or whatever, all that type of stuff. So anyways, but I thought what was interesting is at this point on the beach, you can start to see a lot of things going on with Lupita's character and also with the son. There's obviously, just odd little things. And it really starts to build up some of the mystery for the movie. And I really appreciated that. But Kill, let's go to once we get to back to the house and right before the doppelganger family shows up, and when they do show up, because I think that's really when everything kind of hit the fan, and you think that the movie is going to be one way, but it goes a different way.
Well, we're talking about people's performances, and Lupita, she is terrified of being back at this beach.
That's
This
right.
beach town, because this house was her mom's beach house, and now it's hers. And she's
Yeah.
terrified because of the experience she had there when she was a kid. And she
Right.
portrays it so well that when they get back from the beach and they're at the house, she's like, "Look, I want to go. I can't be here,
Hmm.
please." And Winston Duke, once again, as like an awesome husband, he's disappointed, but he's like, "All right, we're gone." We're gone, and
Hmm.
it's a very tender moment. And then, once again, the daughter, well, the son is like, "There's a family in the driveway." Like, wait,
Right.
what?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I
Right.
love Winston Duke. He's like, "There's no
There's
family
no
in the
family out
driveway,"
there.
and then it cuts to him.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a family in the driveway. You know?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. There was like little comedic moments like that were really great.
Yes, his comedy timing here is great because he sees this and Lapita's like, "Nope, 911." He's like, "Don't call the cops. Come on, let me
Yes.
go
Yes.
investigate this." And he plays it like any average man of any race would do. Any dad,
Yeah.
regardless of race. He goes out there and he's like, "Hey, I don't know what y'all doing. This is my house. Y'all need to get off my property."
Yeah. If you want to get crazy, we can get crazy.
And it is so cool of what he does because he kind of can hear himself and he's like, "I don't sound threatening enough," and he comes back and he's like, I said y'all need to be getting off of my-" and
Yes.
it's just little things you can pick up with how he's portraying it.
Yeah.
He's not a fighter, but he's a dad, he's a husband, and he does want to protect his kids, but in the same respect, he's not about that life, and that's
Right.
fine. That is totally fine. And I love the fact that he is a big guy, and like you were saying, Knight, you see him one way, and oh yeah, I remember you were that big tough guy from Black Panther. Oh, you're gonna kick ass. Nope, not
Yeah.
this time.
I know. He got shut down quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. Real quick too, before I get to you, Coriander, we got Jason in the chat with a $5 super chat, man. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Appreciate that so much, man. And he is saying, I love Us. This movie was so cool and creepy. Even the song I Got Five on it was made super creepy. Yes. My
Yes.
favorite Jordan Peele movie so far. Yeah, man, it was definitely some super creepy stuff. And yeah, when they started to play that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is awesome. The way they kind of just changed it up. Very
Hmm.
cool. Jason, thank you so much for that, man. We appreciate that so much. You know that. But yeah, here we go. Let's do something for you.
What? What? I'm from. What?
Oh man, yeah. But yeah, thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate that. But Coriander, what were you thinking when the doppelganger family came there?
Yeah, I would probably be like, when the kid comes out, it's like, yeah, there's a family out there. The
Right.
dad, yeah, he was, yeah, probably the best part of the movie was the father. Um, and yeah, it was creepy. It and it's almost like, what was her name? Adelaide? Is that what was
Mm-hmm.
her name in
Yeah,
this? Okay.
Addie. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She look how, you could just see how scared she was. Because
Yeah.
she even told her husband, we got to get out of here. She told
Mm-hmm.
him about the story of what happened to her when she was a kid. And
Right.
at first it was almost like, he was almost like kind of, seriously, didn't really take it that serious. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and once you could see the fear in her face, and once, they realized, holy shit, we're dealing with people that look like us. That
Yeah.
was, yeah, that was pretty
Abs-
crazy shit. Yeah.
absolutely. Once they walked in, um, it was just one of those moments, and I want to give a credit to all four of these actors because they played a different side of themselves, basically. You know what I'm saying? They were all just darker in their tone and the way they moved and the way they acted, their intensity, everything about them. And it was really, really cool. And especially for Lupita, because she was the leader, you know, known as Red. And even
Of them
just her,
all, right?
what was that?
Yeah.
What was that?
Nothing,
But
nothing.
she
I
was
may have
just,
said something too soon.
but she was just so intense, and even the way that she was talking, it was just so creepy. It really, really was, man. Real quick before I get to you, Kill, Jason's coming back in, man. He's not playing around. Thank you so much, Jason. Seriously, you really, we appreciate it so much. It really helps out. More than you know. Saying this movie had the best trailer with the I Got Five on it music in the background. So good. The Easter eggs in this movie are so much fun to look for. Exactly. There were so many Easter eggs.
Scattered
It
throughout.
really, really was. Yes, yes. Ben saying, love when he tries to get tough, lower voice. Yes, yes. I know. It's funny, man. It is truly funny. And Jason Jason says, who says buying a boat is not a good investment? I know the whole subplot with the boat, but also kind of what it represented too. And that's actually, and Kill, you know what I'm saying? You know, that kind of is a whole nother type of discussion that maybe at some point we'll have, but it really showed a lot about what Jordan was trying to say without beating us over the head with it. You know, as far as trying to advance, you know, in society and doing it, and how you have to climb a ladder, basically. So it was really, a lot of this movie was talking about the differences, you know, just not only in them versus their doppelgangers, but just in society, the different class structures. Because you saw, you know, people that were well off, and you also saw a lot of homeless people, and you saw a lot of differences between the two. So it's a lot of great things going on. But Jason, thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it so much, man. Seriously. Seriously. Katie's in the chat too. What's going on, Katie? Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Hey.
But Kill, let's get more into that scene with the doppelganger family and how that there was just so much tension in that moment. What were you thinking?
Well, Red, the evil Lupita Nyong'o character, pretty much gave just a quick kind of breakdown of what they are and how they
Right.
came to be and so forth. And you kind of can understand a little bit why she is kind of hateful towards, you know, the other Lupita who lives up here. You know, her
Right.
life is so much better. Whereas, you know, the clones, you know, are kind of in a servitude kind of role. You know,
Right.
they don't
Right.
have their own will because they kind of, you know, are mimics and doppelgangers and so forth. Even in who they, you know, mate with and so forth. You know, because, you know, Red says, you know, I didn't have a choice. I had to be with Abraham because you were with, you know, Winston Duke.
Yeah.
And that.
Right.
So it was just very interesting, the juxtaposition and so forth. And it was really cool to see each of them kind of face off against their copy, you know, or the person they doppelgang, you know.
Right.
The youngest daughter, you know, she's into track and field, so she had to kind of outrun her mimic. And the boys, you know, she had the two little boys go play. And once again, like this, that young lady there, she is so creepy in this
She
scene
is.
because
Yeah.
she's just smirking and smiling. And I'm sorry, to me, that's way more menacing than someone that's just like, oh, brother, I'm going to beat your ass. And I'm gonna
Right.
do, you know, somebody who's just smiling at you. That means they're having fun. This
Right.
is fun to her, you know? So
Which was a different type of vibe than the other ones. You know what I'm saying? Because, the Sun clone and obviously Abraham, and even Red herself, it didn't seem like they were having fun with it per se. They were completing a mission, but she had that smirk, and I was just like, oh man. And they all have those scissors, that's their weapon, which is another thing too that I think was really cool with the film, because their red outfits along with the scissors, it really made for a striking way to present them, as the quote unquote villains and so forth, It's really cool stuff, really cool stuff. Coriander, how about you? I mean, what did you think of what was going on when, you had the doppelgangers basically it was almost like, I don't want to say it was like sport, but it almost was kind of like that. When Red said, basically gave the signal to go get him, go get your double. And it
Their
was
time
kind of
to
like
play.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. What, what did you think of those scenes?
That's when you know that shit was real, and these people had to, this family had to kill, their twins pretty much. So it was
Yeah,
either them you know, or those other guys. So
right,
yeah, they did what they had to do, you
right.
know.
Yep,
So yep.
absolutely. Um, let's see. Check yourself was saying the doppelgangers don't exactly follow their real counterparts. That's true. Depending on what they were doing and stuff like that. Absolutely. Yes. Carrie's in the chat. What's up, Carrie? Saying, "Hey everyone, Us is a very enjoyable film." I absolutely agree. Absolutely. And look who's in the chat, Mr. Steven himself, craving something scary. What's going
Hey.
on, man?
Hello.
Nice to see you. You all right, man? You all right? Saying great movie, and saying my favorite Peel movie to date. Okay, all right.
Nice.
And Carrie's helping us out with the poll. I put a poll up saying, "Is this a great film?" And we've got 55% as yes, and 45% as
Wow,
no.
that's
Ooh,
close.
wow, wow. Okay. And K Ballot saying yes, Us did deliver. It even had a message, just like Get Out did. Yeah, it definitely did. And I think the thing about this movie is that, I think it was cool because what the movie was trying to say was hidden underneath of this odd story about these damn clones and their rise to power, their bid to take over and stuff like that. So I think it was very clever in that sense that you were getting, some of these ideas and discussions to be had about class
And to think
struggle and stuff like that.
this would never have happened if, you know, Addie's friggin' doppelganger did what she did. None of this would have
Right.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I said,
absolutely.
she fucked up everything when she went into that place that night.
Yeah. But the thing that struck me is while this was happening, we're focusing on this family, right, Kill? And then next thing you know, they cut away and show the family's friends, which of course is Elizabeth Moss and her family, her husband and her twin daughters. They're getting attacked by their clones too, and it was some really gross scenes, man. What did you think about those scenes? And of course, Elizabeth Moss is amazing, such a great actress in her own right. So she definitely carried some weight as far as being a supporting character, and obviously having this death scene. What did you think of it, Kill?
Well, for one, I didn't expect there to be more clones. I thought it was
Right,
just Lupita Nyong'o's family, and then
right,
went to pull it back. I was like, oh, this is happening all over. Okay,
yes,
and unfortunately, they were ambushed way more than what Lupita, her family was,
Definitely.
and they
hmm,
died.
yeah,
And once again, we're talking about the actors playing dual versions of themselves. This family also, these actors had to play dual versions, and so forth. And it's just creepy because the doppelgangers, at least in this instance, once they take over, they start,
hmm,
and this is an eye-opening thing because this is what Lapita's family would have done. They'd start to
right,
take over the house. They start to do similar things to what their originals would do.
Right.
what the twins would do, what the dad would
Yes.
do, even putting on the dad's kind of lounge robe.
Yes.
Elizabeth Moss trying on
The
makeup and
makeup.
jewelry,
Hmm.
and I mean, it's just creepy to think of, like, hey, they're coming to kill you, and they're
Yep.
coming to take over your life the best that they can. And
Yep.
obviously there's a mental aspect of the doppelgangers that isn't fully up to the same level as the originals, because they're a
Right.
copy or whatever. But it's just very creepy to see and very interesting to think, man, this
Yeah.
is what could have happened with the initial family that we're watching and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very creepy, and the music too was also very creepy because that kind of gave it some more weight too. Real quick too in the chat before I get back to you, Coriander. Carrie was saying my fave scene was when the doppelgangers were waiting outside, just standing there. It gave me strangers vibes in a sense. You don't know their intentions at that moment, but you know it's not good. True
Yeah.
enough. Yeah,
Mhm.
very, very. Yep, yep. And check yourself saying they play their evil clones very well. Yeah, they did. They did an excellent job. Absolutely. Castellar is in the chat saying, hit the like button. Yes, please. Please,
Nice.
please, please. And thank you for reminding. And please continue to remind. We appreciate it. Jason saying, doppelgangers is just such a creepy concept. Think about how you would feel to come across your doppelganger. I know, it is a creepy concept. And I think it was
Double the
very
pleasure,
effective.
right?
It was
No.
very, it was very
Just
effective, you know? I thought it was very effective. But Coriander,
yeah.
once the family, Lupita Nyong'o's family, deals with their doppelgangers, and that scene where the clone daughter was in the tree, that was a really gross scene. What did you think about that scene? And then, of course, when they went to their friend's house and how they had to deal with those clones, what did you think of those scenes?
Yeah. I mean, it's good that her daughter was a good runner because, and
Yeah,
unfortunately, that made her doppelganger also a good runner.
right.
So, yeah, those are crazy scenes, and I love the gore to them. When their friends, family got attacked, and yeah, that was a really good scene. Um,
Yeah,
and the scissors, the choice of scissors as their weapon, that's a smart move. But yeah, it was good. So yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And once they kind of have to deal with the other family's clones, especially that scene with the twins, the kids had to really do a lot of things too, brave things too. But anyways, it was just really really cool. But here's the thing, guys. You'd think that would be kind of the movie, the main side of the movie. But it really wasn't, Kill, because after this, you literally have another third of the movie you're going into, which gets even more intense because they try to escape. Because, Addie says, we've got to get out of here. We got to head towards Mexico. We got to get out of Dodge, basically, is what she's saying. And so as they're driving, you have that really amazing, intense scene where they're in the car and they see the clone of the sun and so forth and so forth. Now, what did you think of this scene as it led us into the final confrontation?
I knew something was up.
Right?
I just, because he is, in my opinion, other than Red, he is the most dangerous.
Yeah.
He might
Yeah.
be the smallest and the youngest, but he's a
Yes.
pyromaniac, and
Yes.
he's smart. He's sneaky,
Mm-hmm.
and I love the cinematography of this scene because you're seeing once again that so many juxtapositions. You're seeing it from Adelaide's her point of view, and then you're seeing it from his point of view. And he does like little things, like he takes off his mask and kind of looks to scan,
Mm-hmm.
are y'all all in there? Okay.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, what? And luckily, because somehow him and the original son have like a wavelength, he was like, nah, something's wrong,
This
something's
is a
wrong, get
trick.
out of the car, this is a trick. And
Yeah.
sure enough, their van blows up, um and Red has enough time to kidnap the original son.
Right.
Yeah, and once again, you know, the original son gets kidnapped. Red's son, the doppelganger, gets killed,
Right.
and it's funny when I was watching this, I still didn't put two and two together,
Right.
but I was like, how
Yes.
does Lupita Nyong'o know where to go?
Right. Right. There we go. Now we're
How
getting
does
there.
she know where to go? And at first I was like, oh well, she's going back to the Hall of Mirrors, okay. But then like this screenshot here, whoa, there's steps and escalators and what is this Umbrella
Yeah.
Corporation down here? Is this
Right.
Resident Evil? What's going on here? And
It's like, what's
and just
going
like you
on?
were saying, Knight, then we're in a new era of this movie, and it's like, ooh. And yes, I'm gonna let Coriander has some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before I get to you, Coriander, because I want to talk about this finale real quick, and we'll get into the twist, but we will give a warning before we get into the twist, okay? I just want to make sure I put that out there. But Jason is jumping in, another $5 super chat. He's all right, man. Thanks, Jason. Seriously, man, you rock.
Give
We
him
appreciate
something,
you
Knight.
so much.
Give him something.
Yeah, saying, Knight, we need to know who would win in a fight between the real Knight and doppelganger Knight. Also, who would have bigger pythons? The doppelganger. He'll win because he's probably going to be ruthless, and I'm not ruthless. I'm a nice guy.
You are. You're very sweet.
So real quick, Jason, you're all right. We're gonna do a couple things for you, man. And seriously, all right, here we go.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
What was that? Oh man!
I love that movie.
Yeah, you do.
What is that?
What the
What'd you say, Coriander?
Wow. What was that friggin' little skinny dude from? What was?
Oh, that's a new clip. You haven't seen that one yet, have you?
But what's the movie? No, what's the movie?
All right, hold on. Let me play this for you. This
Oh,
is our
no.
new one. Jason deserves this anyway because
Okay, yes, he does.
he's just being
Can you do the
amazing
one
here.
with the heads that Coriander hates? The one with the screaming heads?
No, I'm not gonna do
Oh,
that. I'm not gonna do that
darn.
one. We're gonna hold off on that one. Anyways. All right, so here's the new one. Here we go.
Bring that fat ass over here. Oh, I wanna.
Wow. Ichigok. That's all I have to say.
Where do you find this stuff?
Oh man, I'm telling you.
Man, he
You
was
get-
into it, man.
Yeah, you got a dream,
Yeah.
baby.
Definitely, man.
You got a dream, baby.
All right, you better bring it to him.
You got a dream,
something.
baby. You got a dream.
Got a dream, baby. Got a dream, baby.
I know. Hey, you got it all worked out, Carlito. Here's to you.
There you go. There it is. Okay, now that we've totally just once again, Jason, you're all right, man. You know how to stop the stream with some good stuff, man. Let me just catch up to the chat. We'll get into this the last part. Oh my gosh. Carrie said, I absolutely love the originality of this film. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
true, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is really cool. Russell saying, how about who'd win with all the doppelgangers between Nightwatch, Coriander, and Killian? I don't know. Oh my god.
We would
too
win.
funny. Yeah, there you go.
Guys,
There you go.
we'd kick ass.
As long as we don't get ambushed
Jason-
by our doppelganger.
Right.
I'm fucking ready.
Jason says, thank you so much, Jason. That's a $2 super chat too, man. Those are just awesome. Can you dig it? Right? Exactly, man. Hey, Nightmare Corner says, what was that?
Right? I think I like what was it? Was it Picklehead or
Oh,
the hell was that?
Pickle
weird
Surprise.
Fucking yes, man.
you said the weird. What'd you say, Coriander?
Well, yeah, it was that.
What is it? Huh?
It's a surprise! Pickle surprise! Pickle surprise!
Oh my god.
Look at Kill! Look at Kill!
It's like he looks like a big green dildo. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry, but I had to say it.
What is going on? Cats and dogs living together.
Living together.
It's
Oh, my
craziness in the streets.
Oh
Pickle
man.
Pickle surprise.
Yeah, that and Katie sent that one to me and Steven, so we can thank her for that one. That was great.
Thank you, Kate.
That is a good one.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. So once we get into the finale of this, like you were saying, Kill, you're wondering how did Addie know where to go, and she's going down these steps, trying to get into the Umbrella Corporation for Resident Evil and so forth and so forth. Coriander, what did you think about the confrontation she had with Red, and also, just anything about that? I don't want to go too far, but what did you think of the confrontation and how Red was explaining, her backstory?
Yeah, obviously, if you didn't know what was going on between, especially these two doppelgangers, you did now, because she ended up telling you everything that night that you were in that. Oh, we're spoiling it, man, right?
Well,
Didn't
no,
you say
yeah,
you were-
we're not at that point yet, but let's
Oh,
just,
fuck.
because that
Okay.
that doesn't really. Jeez. Come on, man.
Spoiler!
God.
Pickle surprise.
What did you think of the confrontation? That's all.
It's good.
Okay. So to me, what was really cool about it though was the way it was shot, because you're underground and they literally have their own society. Because in the beginning of the movie, one of the things that was said before the movie even started, they were talking about how there was abandoned underground tunnels and service routes and deserted mine shafts, and many had no purpose at all, and so forth. And it was thousands of miles beneath the continental United States. So, in other words, and Jordan Peele does this a lot with his movies so far, and I'm hoping that happens in Nopes. He's really just creating this mythology and kind of bringing it all around in a big circle. And to me, it's really, really cool. But the fight that they had, number one, was really cool because you started to hear that music in the background, the I Got Five on it. It was so cool because it was more, and help me out with this, Kill, it was more like an orchestra type of version of it, but creepy, it's creepy and haunting. Haunting is the word I want to use. And it was a beautiful scene seeing Lupita Nyong'o playing two characters going after each other. It was really well done. Kill, what did you think about how that was done before we get to the big reveal?
I loved it. Just the cinematography on this fight,
Right.
and the fact that Red, has those scissors, and Addie, she has a weapon of her own. But the way that Red moves is like a ballerina, which is something
Yes.
that Addie did when she was a kid. And you pick up on little things like that. It was like she was kind of just toying with
Right.
Adelie in a way, kind of just slicing at her here and there, and just kind of grasping like this and just spinning around her and just kind of having fun, just like
Yeah.
how the daughter doppelganger would smile and have fun, because she's
That's
been
right.
waiting for
Right.
this. She has been just dreaming of this day when I'm going to kill you and take
Right.
your life.
That's right.
I'm just, it was interesting to finally see these two come to head. No other
Yes.
interference, just these two women going at it. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yep, absolutely. And Coriander, I mean, we'll get into the spoiler now. First of all, did you see that spoiler coming? That twist? Before we say it,
The
did
first time I've seen that,
Yeah.
saw the movie, hell no. I did.
Okay.
I had no idea. Yeah.
What did you? And I know I'm kind of playing this a little bit, but we're going to give away the spoiler, guys. So if you have not seen Us, you probably want to pause this video here and first of all watch the movie. It's a great movie, and then check out the rest of our discussion, because I really think it's an interesting twist. And I know some folks it's a little bit divisive too. And Carrie's saying we got 60% for yes, 40% for no, and whether or not it's a great film. Yeah. But Coriander, let's get into the spoiler of it. We come to find out what happened on that fateful night when the young little girl went into the Hall of Mirrors. I'll let you tell us, and then tell me what you think of it as a twist.
It's a pretty damn awesome twist. I'll tell you that already. Yeah, she swaps places with her. That's why you come to figure that's why the kid didn't talk. Because she had to learn the language.
Right.
Here you could have thought, oh, this poor kid was in shock. So you get why she didn't speak, for a little bit. And
Right.
yeah, it's just, yeah, it was a whole crazy twist that I didn't see coming. And yeah, to think that poor little girl got, wherever they kept, under those tunnels all those years. And think about it, she's the only one who could talk. So of course
Right.
these other doppelgangers are going to see her as a leader and
Yes.
help her carry out her mission of taking over or whatever her plan was, So yeah,
Yep.
it was like I said, it was a crazy reveal, and
Yeah.
it just made the movie that much better.
Yeah. I mean, you ultimately find out that you've been rooting for the villain. I mean,
Yes.
ultimately, that's what it is that Addie, was the little girl that strangled, who we thought was the innocent child, and so they basically were switched. So I thought, it was a great reveal, and I did not see that happening whatsoever. And it just made you really. And then you think back to other things in the movie, Kill, like that scene when the family was driving, and Addie was listening to the music and telling Jason, the son, snap your fingers, follow the beat, and she was way off beat. Like there was an oddness to her as a person. Now we understand why, because she was
beach
the
scene?
doppelganger.
Yeah. Right, where she's talking to her supposed friend, and they wasn't really having much of a conversation, and she even said,
Yes.
she doesn't really talk much or something like
Right.
that. So
She has a tough
yeah,
time talking. Yes,
yes,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Real quick before I get to you, Kill, and then we'll round this thing out. Jordan's in the chat. What's going on? All right.
Hey.
Let's see. Check yourself saying that was a great twist. Yes. Yes. I thought so too. Michael asking, what was the symbolism of the rabbits in Us and Get Out? Please explain. Well, I think the rabbits, it was multiple things. One, it was showing the fact that rabbits, basically multiplying and being clones. They also were a food source in this story because the
Yep.
clones or the doppelgangers were basically abandoned by the scientists and the doctors who created them. So the rabbits are basically like lab animals, and that's exactly what the doctors and scientists treated the clones like, lab animals. You know what I'm saying? What do you think of that, Kill? Is that spot on, or what do you think?
Yeah, that's what I got from it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But with this twist, Kill, what did you think of the twist as we round this thing out?
I loved it. I didn't see it coming, but I love how you still don't get that full explaining until
Right.
after Adelaide kills Red. And when
Yes,
she
she kills
kills
her.
Red, she grunts and
Mm-hmm.
snarls and sounds
Yes.
a lot like the clones, to the point
Yep.
where her son, who was in a locker, kind of was looking at her like, "Oh,
Like,
okay, like,
yeah, are you?
all right,
Yeah, you're not the.
that's
You.
weird."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I love it. They're driving home, the whole family. Dad's in the back with the daughter, and the son is in the passenger seat with mom, and they're driving. And then that's when you get all those flashbacks fully, and you see,
Mm-hmm.
well, young Adelaide, which is the clone, choking out and messing up the vocal cords of
Yes.
the real version, and switching her out, changing the Michael Jackson Thriller shirt,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and dragging her down to the bowels of, the area where the clones are all kept, and kind of
Yep.
cuffing her there and leaving her there to
That's
rot.
right. Yes. Yep.
And and it's so interesting because, once again, no words are spoken here, And Lupita Nyong'o's driving. She's looking to the future. She's on the road, and she just leans over and looks at him, and kind of giving those motherly eyes to him, like, you better not say nothing. You can think whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you if you're right or not. And once again, these child actors, especially the son, he just looks at her like, with the head to the side, like,
Yep.
Like, all right.
And then he pulls down his mask.
Yep.
Which of course is a nod to Jason.
Very true.
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees.
But also, you got to think, your mom is a clone, dude. So what does that make you?
Yeah, exactly. Boom. Right.
50% clone.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Right.
And the daughter.
And the daughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick too, we got Jamie. Jamie jumped into the chat too, saying, "I haven't seen Us. I'm behind. It's on my watch list." Yeah, it's a good one. It really is.
Check it out.
It is. I like scaries in the chat. My man Brandon, what's going on? Nice to see you. Michael saying the twist was so messed up. Love a movie you can't guess the endings. I agree.
Yes.
And Michael saying thanks for explaining the rabbits. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But Coriander, the last thing that we see after we get all of that, because the one thing we forgot, we're dealing with just this one clone, this human, and this one clone that had their bio. Yes, which was foreshadowed in the beginning of the movie, showing that commercial, which was a real thing. Hands Across America was a real thing back in the 80s, and so the dream came true. Coriander, what did you think of this? I mean, it was thousands of them, just like Red had planned.
Yeah, they had like military helicopters and shit that are flying their way. So hopefully they're just gonna drop bombs on all these individuals or shoot them down or do whatever they gotta do. Take them out.
But here's the other thing too, though, is that so there's clones of everyone, right? So you can only imagine, because the whole town had been, humans had been killed by their clones because it was basically a revolution, and nobody expected this, and this was basically like a war. So you can imagine, you can imagine it's basically almost a parallel of like a zombie apocalypse, really, if you think about it. So it was a chilling end to this movie, because in my mind, I'm thinking they're going to take over. They have to, because who's going to believe that? Like, even you saw that one scene before the confrontation with Addie and Red, where there's this news guy on camera talking about, we have reports of people dressed in red and killing people and and all this type of stuff. And all of a sudden, his clone comes up and kills him, and he couldn't even believe it live on air. So, you can imagine that this thing was really going to just burst out of control. Dan saying, overall, the whole doppelganger tunnels thing didn't quite work for me. Really good parts. Pretty fun to watch. Yeah, there are some folks that, weren't really big fans of that. And I know some people, and of course, when you sit down and you look at it from A to Z, you can kind of pick it apart and say, well, how did this happen? Or how did this happen? How does this make sense? But, that happens with a lot of horror movies to me too. If you sometimes suspending disbelief, you have to do it more for other movies than others. This is one where you do have to do it a lot. What do you think about that, Kill? Because I know some folks weren't really big on the twist of it all. Well, the doppelganger aspect.
Yeah, well, two quick answers. One, the Hands Across of America, that's a sign of strength and unity. And just to kind of show the whole continental U.S., because that's where these experiments were, it's just us for the most part. Yeah. Hey, they're the new first class, upper class. Yes. Because now they outnumber us and they're crazy and they will kill us. Whereas your normal person doesn't necessarily want to kill. But all of these clones are very capable and don't mind killing. And one thing I'll say about this movie, and this kind of happened to me the first time, and Night, I don't know if you remember, I saw this by myself, and then I saw it with you, a week or two later. And my first viewing of it, I said to myself, well, I needed more horror in this. This really wasn't what I was expecting at first. Right. But if you look at the progression, and now we can even kind of see signs with Nope. Get Out is horror slash kind of retrospective on race relations in a way.
Mm-hmm.
This and that is horror. I'm sorry, that is horror. Okay,
Yeah.
this
Right.
movie, it's horror, but it leans, in my opinion, more sci-fi. And Nope, at least from what we see from the trailers, you got aliens in it. That's sci-fi.
Right.
So I'm going into Nope not expecting really any horror other than whatever horrors the aliens might do to the humans. So
Right.
there's a progression there that shows how creative Jordan Peele can be, how he loves horror, he loves science fiction, he even it's comedy, because there's comedy in these movies as well. Each of these movies has had a comedy relief character, the best friend to Daniel Kaluuya in Get Out, Winston Duke, the dad, in this one, and it looks like Keke Palmer will be the comedy relief in Nope. So I'm enjoying his progression, and not just saying, well, every movie I'm going to do is going to have horror and maybe some retrospective on racial undertones in America. I'm happy that he's evolving, and so forth, and I don't mind it. But with this movie, I do remember a lot of conversations I had with people, and they were like, oh, well, how did the clones get the scissors? How did they get the jumpsuits? How did they survive down there all that time? And why were they created? And, a lot of these things are answered in the movie in a way. You just really have to kind of pay attention to things that are said, especially by Red. But then some of it, don't worry about that. Night of the Living Dead, how are they coming back to life? Don't worry about that. They just know that they are. And that ending sequence where the helicopters are, I didn't think they were going to drop bombs. I thought it was a lot of news helicopters for one, just witnessing this show of power of all of these people. Because in this country, someone's going to say, well, we can't kill them. They're people. Or as Red said,
we're Americans.
We're Americans.
Yes, I loved that.
Yeah. So I just think, they take over and kill us all. Oh, coriander, kill them all.
Right.
Let God sort them out.
All right.
Right?
So anyways, but guys, that's all we have for us. This was one of those movies that definitely has a lot of stuff going on. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. If you haven't seen it in a little whiles, I mean, it's still a fairly new movie. It just came out in 2019, but it's fun. It's got a lot of stuff to it, and I've seen it, multiple times now, and each time I see it, I see a little bit more what's going on. I'm able to really peel back the onion. For me, and not everyone's like this, but obviously us three are pretty much on the same page. But for me, I love those types of movies because it's just it's like you can continue to find things, at least a few times watching it. And I think it just shows how much was put into the movie by Jordan Peele and the filmmaking team. And that's what really gets me excited for Nope, is that if he follows this path that he's begun with Get Out and Us and other things that he's worked as producer on, then Nope should be a pretty interesting film. And I think, if nothing else, and I know some people, they like Get Out more than Us or vice versa, or they don't like either, or they love them both or whatever. But if nothing else, we're talking about movies that we have no clue what the hell's going on. It's not a sequel. It's not a reboot. It's not a remake. It's not a franchise. It's not a, an adaptation, and I think it's cool. That's what really gets me excited about these movies, man. When I heard he was doing Nope, I was just pumped up, man. It really was. So, anyways, that's my take on it. But you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us in the chat. We really appreciate it. Russell saying it's a masterpiece. I love it. I really do. I really do. Thank you so much, Michael, saying you guys rock. We appreciate that. We really, really do. Carrie saying it's a rewatchable film and it has innovation, a fresh story. That's what I love about Peele, that he has his own ideas. Very cool. Yes. Catch you later, Wayne. Take it easy. But anyways, guys, please give the video a like if you have not done that. That would help really support the channel. And also, if you just take a quick second, maybe it's going to be 5, maybe 10, but leave us a comment and let us know what you think of us or Get Out or Jordan Peele or what you're expecting from Nope, because we definitely will be talking about Nope after it comes out, so keep a lookout for that. So, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.
Peace.